Long before the first metal coins were ever made, the people of ancient China used other things as money. The earliest form of currency was the cowrie shell. These small, beautiful shells came from the sea, far away from the heartland of early Chinese civilization. Because they were rare and hard to get, they were considered valuable. People used them in trade to buy goods and pay for services. The government even accepted them for taxes. The Chinese character for money, which is bei, is actually a picture of a cowrie shell, showing just how important they were in the distant past. This system worked for a very long time, but as the population grew and trade became more complex, a better form of money was needed. As the Bronze Age began in China, people started to use bronze tools for farming and daily life. It was not long before these tools themselves became a form of money. Things like small bronze spades and knives were used in trade. They had a real, useful value, but they were often heavy and awkward to carry around. To make them easier to use as money, people began making smaller, non-functional versions of these tools. These are known as spade money and knife money. They were some of the world's first metal coins. They were cast in molds, just like the real tools, and often had inscriptions telling where they were made or their value. This was a big step forward from using shells. The next major change came with the first emperor, Qin Shi Huang, who unified China around 221 BC. He wanted to standardize everything in his new empire, from the width of roads to the system of writing. He also standardized the money. He abolished the old spade and knife money from the different states he had conquered. In their place, he introduced a new round coin with a square hole in the center. This coin was called the ban liang, which means half a liang, a unit of weight. The round shape represented heaven, and the square hole represented the earth. This design was so practical and successful that it would be used for Chinese coins for the next 2,000 years. These early coins were made of bronze, an alloy of copper and tin. Silver was known and considered a precious metal, but it was not used for coinage at this time. It was just too rare and valuable for everyday transactions. Instead, silver was used to make beautiful objects, jewelry, and special gifts for the emperor and nobles. It was a sign of wealth and status, but it was not money that the common person would ever use. The economy of ancient China was built on bronze. The humble round bronze coin with the square hole would be the backbone of Chinese commerce for one dynasty after another, long before silver coins ever entered the picture. For many centuries, silver remained a precious commodity but not a formal currency. Its value was recognized, but it was traded by weight, not as standardized coins. During the Tang dynasty, which lasted from 618 to 907 AD, a period of great prosperity and openness to the world, this began to change. Silver started to be cast into standardized ingot shapes. These ingots were called saisi, from a Cantonese word meaning fine silk, or yuanbao in Mandarin. They were not made by a central government mint, but by private silversmiths. Each silversmith would melt down silver, purify it, and pour it into a mold. They would then stamp their name and the weight and purity of the ingot onto its surface, guaranteeing its value. These early saisi came in many shapes and sizes. Some looked like small boats, others like round buns or rectangular bars. The most iconic shape, which became famous later, was the boat or saddle shape, with a high center and raised ends. This shape made them easy to stack and handle. Saisi were not used for buying everyday items like a bowl of rice. They were used for large transactions like paying taxes, funding military campaigns, and conducting major business deals. A single large saisi could be worth thousands of bronze coins. They were the money of merchants, government officials, and the wealthy elite. The use of silver as a form of money was greatly boosted by foreign trade. During the Tang and later the Song dynasty, China's Silk Road and maritime trade routes brought in a huge amount of silver from other parts of the world. Merchants from Persia, Arabia, and Central Asia preferred to be paid in silver, which was a universal store of wealth. This influx of foreign silver helped make it a more common part of the Chinese economy. However, the government still did not officially mint silver coins. The system of private saisi, verified by weight and purity, continued to dominate high-level finance for hundreds of years. The Yuan dynasty, established by the Mongols in 1271, saw another important development. The Mongol rulers introduced paper money as the primary currency for the empire. However, this paper money was theoretically backed by silver. The government kept large reserves of silver saisi in its treasury to give people confidence in the paper notes. When the paper money system eventually collapsed due to overprinting, people lost faith in it and returned to using physical metal. This experience reinforced the idea that silver was true, reliable money. Its tangible value was something people could trust, unlike paper that could become worthless overnight. This set the stage for silver's even greater role in the dynasties to come. By the time of the Ming dynasty, which lasted from 1368 to 1644, silver had become the foundation of the Chinese economy. The government reformed the tax system, requiring many taxes to be paid in silver, not grain or bronze coins. This policy, known as the single whip reform, created a massive, constant demand for silver across the entire country. At the same time, a new and powerful source of silver arrived on China's shores. European traders, especially the Spanish, had discovered vast silver mines in the Americas, in places like Potosi and modern-day Bolivia. They wanted Chinese goods like silk, porcelain, and tea, and they had plenty of silver to pay for them. This led to the arrival of the Spanish silver dollar, often called the piece of 8 or carolus dollar. These coins were large, heavy, and made of high-quality silver. They were minted in huge numbers in Spanish colonies like Mexico and Peru. The most famous design featured the Pillars of Hercules on one side and the Spanish coat of arms on the other. Chinese merchants and officials quickly came to trust these foreign coins. They were of a consistent weight and purity, which made them much more reliable than the many different types of local saisi. Soon, the Spanish dollar became the unofficial standard silver coin of China's coastal trade. The Spanish dollar was so popular that it circulated widely throughout China for over 300 years. People gave it nicknames like Ben Yang, meaning principal money, or Fo To, meaning Buddha head, referring to the portrait of the Spanish king. Chinese silversmiths, known as shuraks, would test each coin to ensure it was real silver. They would stamp the coin with a small Chinese character, called a chop mark, to show that it had been verified. Over time, some coins became so covered in these chop marks that the original design was almost completely hidden. These chopped dollars are a physical record of their long journey through the Chinese marketplace. The dominance of the Spanish dollar had a profound effect on China. It integrated the Chinese economy into the new global economy, but it also made China dependent on a foreign supply of money. When the flow of silver from the Americas slowed down, it could cause economic problems in China. Despite this, the Spanish dollar proved that a standardized, machine-struck silver coin was a very efficient form of currency. This experience paved the way for China to eventually create its own modern silver coins. The foreign dollar had shown the way forward, and Chinese officials began to realize that they needed their own national silver dollar to control their own economy. For centuries, the Qing dynasty, which lasted from 1644 to 1912, had watched foreign silver dollars flow through its economy. Officials grew increasingly concerned about this reliance on outside money. They wanted to create a modern, uniform currency that would assert China's sovereignty and modernize its financial system. The first serious attempts to create a Chinese silver dollar began in the late 19th century. After several small experimental issues in different provinces, the central government decided to act. In 1889, the famous Guangdong Mint was established, equipped with modern steam-powered machinery imported from Britain. This was the beginning of a new era for Chinese coinage. The first major standardized silver coin produced was the Guangdong Guangxu Yuanbao, often called the Dragon Dollar. These coins were a beautiful blend of Chinese tradition and Western technology. One side featured a powerful, coiled dragon, a timeless symbol of imperial authority and good fortune in China. The dragon was surrounded by English text, which read, Guangdong Province and 7 mace and 2 kandareens. The coin's value based on the traditional Chinese weight system, equivalent to 1 tael. This bilingual design was meant to make the coin acceptable for both international trade and domestic use, directly competing with the foreign dollars. The other side of the coin was purely Chinese. In the center, it had the Chinese characters for the coin's value, Qi Qian Er Fen, meaning 7 mace and 2 kandareens. Around the rim, it stated the name of the province, Guangdong Sheng Zhao, which means made in Guangdong province, and the reign title of the emperor, Guangxu Yuanbao, or Guangxu's valued treasure. The design was a powerful statement. It showed that China could produce coins that were just as good as, if not better than, the Western ones. The dragon dollar was an immediate success. Its quality and design were praised, and it was readily accepted in trade. The success of the Guangdong dragon dollar inspired the central government to create a national currency. In 1908, a new design was approved for a unified imperial coinage. This coin, known as the Daxing Yinbi, or Great Qing silver coin, also featured a magnificent dragon. The design was updated and even more detailed, with the dragon's body twisting through clouds. The reverse side had the value Yi Yuan, meaning $1, marking a formal shift from the old weight system to the dollar unit. Unfortunately, the Qing dynasty was collapsing. Though patterns and a small number of these coins were struck, they were not issued in large numbers before the empire fell in 1911, making them very rare today. Following the great success of the Guangdong Mint's first dragon dollar, a wave of minting activity swept across the Chinese empire. The central government in Beijing, authorized other provinces to establish their own modern mints and produce silver coins. This was done partly to meet the huge demand for a modern currency, and partly because provincial governors had a lot of power and really wanted to control their own finances. This led to a fascinating, and honestly, pretty complex period, where nearly every major province in China began striking its own version of the silver dragon dollar. This era, from about 1890 to 1911, is truly a collector's paradise. While all these coins followed the basic dragon dollar format, each province added its own unique touches. The dragons themselves were different. Some were fierce and had sharp angular features, like the dragon from Hubei province. Others were more serene and curved, like the famous Beiyang dragon from the Mint in Tianjin. Collectors can often identify a coin's province just by looking at the style of the dragon. The English text on the coins also changed, naming each specific province, such as Hoyu Peh province, Feng Tian province, or Sichuan province. This variety honestly makes collecting provincial dragon dollars a true adventure. The mints used machinery imported from various countries, including Britain, Germany, and the United States. This sometimes resulted in slight differences in the quality and style of the coins. For example, some mints produced coins with beautifully sharp details, while others were a bit softer. There were also many different denominations struck, not just the large dollar coin. Provinces also made smaller silver coins, including 50-cent, 20-cent, and 10-cent pieces. These smaller coins were vital for everyday transactions, and helped the new silver currency filter down to all levels of society, replacing the old copper cash for many purchases. Silver purity of the coins from different provinces was not exactly the same. This could create confusion and difficulties in trade, as merchants had to know which provincial dollars were more reliable than others. The central government made several attempts to standardize the coinage, but the power of the provincial governors was just too strong. This symphony of different dragons and mints was really a reflection of the political state of late Qing China, a vast empire trying to modernize, but also struggling with a weak central government and strong regional leaders. In 1911, a revolution overthrew the Qing dynasty, and the Republic of China was born. The new government needed to establish its authority, and honestly, one of the most visible ways to do this was by issuing new money. The dragon, the symbol of the old empire, had to go. In its place, the Republic created new silver dollar designs that reflected its modern political ideals. The first of these, and one of the most famous of all Chinese coins, was the Yuan Shikai dollar. Yuan Shikai was a powerful general who became the first formal president of the Republic of China. His portrait was placed on the new national silver dollar, first struck in 1914. The Yuan Shikai dollar was a simple, elegant coin. The front featured a detailed military bust of the president, looking to the left. The reverse side showed the coin's value, Yi Yuan, or $1, written inside a wreath of grain. This design was symbolic. It replaced the emperor's dragon with the image of a modern leader and the imperial script with a simple wreath representing agriculture and the people. The coin was minted in massive quantities at several mints, including Tianjin, Nanjing, and Wuchang. It was made to a very consistent standard of weight and purity, 89% silver, which made it incredibly popular and trusted all across China. Another iconic silver coin from the early republic is the junk dollar. This coin was first issued in 1932 and was intended to be the new, standardized national currency. The front of the coin featured a portrait of Sun Yat-sen, who is revered as the father of the nation for his role in the 1911 revolution. The reverse side is what gives the coin its popular name. It shows a two-masted Chinese sailing ship, known as a junk, sailing on the sea with a rising sun and 3 geese flying overhead. This beautiful and symbolic design was meant to represent China sailing forward into a bright new future. Like the Yuan Shikai dollar, the Sun Yat-sen junk dollar was produced in huge numbers and became a workhorse of the Chinese economy. These two silver dollars were the main currency used in China for decades. They were used by everyone, from big city bankers to rural farmers. They were so common and trusted that they continued to circulate even after the government faced political turmoil, civil war, and the Japanese invasion. These coins represent a pivotal moment in Chinese history, a time of great change and hope as the nation left its imperial past behind and stepped onto the world stage as a modern republic. The era of silver currency in China, which had lasted for centuries, came to an official end in 1935. The world was in the midst of the Great Depression, and the value of silver on the international market had risen dramatically. This caused a major problem for China. Because its currency was based on the value of silver, the country's money became too expensive. This made it very difficult for China to export its goods, and it led to a severe economic crisis. Foreign countries, especially the United States and Japan, were buying up huge amounts of silver, draining it out of China and causing the economy to shrink. In response to this crisis, the nationalist government, led by Chiang Kai-shek, made a drastic decision. In November 1935, they enacted the Fabi currency reform. This reform nationalized all silver in the country. It became illegal for private citizens to own or use silver coins as money. People were ordered to turn in their silver dollars and saisi to government-owned banks. In exchange, they were given a new paper currency called the Fabi, which translates to legal tender. This new paper money was not backed by silver. It was a fiat currency, meaning its value was based only on the government's decree. This was a massive change for the Chinese people, who had trusted silver for generations. At first, there was some resistance, but the government enforced the law strictly. The silver that was collected was used by the government to create a foreign exchange reserve to stabilize the new paper currency and fund the state. For a few years, the Fabi system seemed to work. However, the outbreak of the Second Sino-Japanese War in 1937 and the subsequent Chinese Civil War put immense pressure on the government's finances. To pay for the enormous military expenses, the government began printing massive amounts of Fabi notes. This overprinting led to hyperinflation. The value of the paper money plummeted. Prices for everyday goods would double in a matter of weeks, then days, and eventually hours. People's life savings were wiped out. A suitcase full of paper money might only be enough to buy a single bag of rice. During this chaotic time, many people secretly went back to using the old illegal silver dollars. A yuan shikai, or Sun Yat-sen dollar, held its value because it was made of real silver, while the paper Fabi became worthless. This experience reinforced the deep cultural belief in the stability of precious metals, a lesson that would not be forgotten. The age of circulating silver coins in China was over, but its memory and value endured. After the Communist Revolution in 1949, China's currency was the paper renminbi. For many decades, the private ownership of precious metals was discouraged, and there was no official government program for minting silver or gold coins for a global audience. This all changed in the early 1980s. As China began to open its economy to the world, it also looked for new ways to engage with the international community. One of these ways was through the creation of modern commemorative and bullion coins. Following the success of coins like the Canadian Maple Leaf and the American Silver Eagle, China decided to launch its own signature bullion coin. In 1982, the People's Bank of China released the first gold panda coin, and the silver panda followed soon after. The first silver-proof pandas were issued in 1983, 1984, and 1985 in small numbers. The regular 1 troy ounce silver bullion panda coin program began in 1989 and has been released every year since. the coin was an instant global success. What made the Chinese panda coin so unique and appealing was its design. Unlike most other bullion coins, which use the same design year after year, the panda coin features a new portrait of a giant panda every single year, with one exception in 2002, which repeated the 2001 design. The reverse side of the coin shows a different, delightful scene of the beloved giant panda, often depicted playing, eating bamboo, or climbing trees. The designs are often incredibly charming and artistic, showcasing China's national animal. The obverse, or front side, of the coin has remained consistent. It features a depiction of the iconic Hall of Prayer for Good Harvests from the Temple of Heaven in Beijing. The top of the coin has the characters for People's Republic of China, and the bottom shows the year of issue. This combination of a changing design and beautiful artistry has made the silver panda one of the most collected bullion coins in the world. In recent years, the Panda coin program has seen some changes. In 2016, the China Mint shifted from the troy ounce system to the metric gram system to align with international standards. The standard silver panda coin changed from 1 troy ounce, or 31.1 grams, to 30 grams. The coins are produced by several official mints, including those in Shenzhen, Shanghai, and Shenyang. Today, the Chinese silver panda is more than just a piece of silver. It is a cultural ambassador. It represents modern China's skill in minting technology and artistry, and it continues the long, epic story of silver in a country that has valued it for thousands of years. The journey of Chinese silver coinage is a story as vast and dramatic as the history of China itself. It is a tale that spans from ancient ingots traded on the Silk Road to the modern, globally recognized panda coins. This evolution reflects China's own transformation from an ancient empire to a modern global power. Each coin and silver ingot is a small, metal artifact that tells a much larger story about economics, politics, art, and culture. Looking back, we can see how silver connected China to the rest of the world, first through the influx of Spanish dollars, and later through the export of its own beautifully crafted coins. The legacy of China's classic silver coins, like the Dragon dollars and the Republic-era portrait dollars, is immense. For coin collectors or numismatists, they offer a field of study that is almost limitless in its complexity and variety. The many provincial mints, subtle design changes, and rare patterns provide a lifetime of challenge and discovery. These coins are not just collected for their silver content, they are prized for their history and rarity. A rare provincial dragon dollar or an early Republican pattern can be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction, making them some of the most valuable world coins. The story of Chinese silver also holds a powerful cultural lesson about the nature of money. The Chinese people's experience with hyperinflation in the 20th century, where paper money became worthless, created a deep and lasting appreciation for the tangible value of gold and silver. This cultural memory helps explain why the demand for physical precious metals remains so strong in China today. Many Chinese families view owning gold and silver as a fundamental way to preserve wealth and protect their savings against economic uncertainty, a tradition born from centuries of experience with different forms of currency. Today, the popularity of Chinese silver coins is greater than ever. The annual release of the Silver Panda is a major event for collectors and investors around the world. The China Mint also produces a wide range of other silver commemorative coins, celebrating everything from the Chinese lunar calendar to historical events and cultural landmarks. These modern issues carry on the tradition of high-quality engraving and artistic design. From the early crude Sisi to the modern precision-minted panda, Chinese silver has always been a symbol of value, artistry, and history, securing its place as a fascinating and enduring chapter in the grand story of world currency.